Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your man, Big Brandon Carter. We out here, man. Time for another one of those victory talks. I don't know what other kind of talk to talk about. It's all I know how to. I only know how to victory talk. Starting a little bit late today, fashionably late. But let's get into it. Enough game. Yo, you know what it is. We back again with another one of them victory talks. You know what I'm saying? This is episode number 75. God damn. We've been doing this shit, man. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties and some King Keto difficulties. But we're here. Never fear. We are here. All right. Of course, I'm your humble and gracious host, Big Brandon Carter, BBC, King Keto, the king of ketosis, Gymnasium Jesus, Jesus de Gimnasio para mi gente. And, you know what I'm saying? We back in here. You know, I got my man Nima straight out of the Middle East. Middle Eastern people don't call themselves Asian, but it is in the continent. It's on the continent of Asia. You know what I'm saying? We inclusive. You know what I'm saying? We inclusive. We got Asians up in here. And then, Minovia kicking out the haters in the comments, man. You talk crazy, you're gonna get kicked out, man. She got a hair trigger on that shit. You'll be blocked forevermore. And you might be talking and won't even see it. Like, I think she can do it like you be talking, having a fucking conversation with yourself, hating and shit. No, don't nobody know but you, man. Loser shit. All right. So better watch that. And she's reading off the super chats. You know what it is. Behind every strong man, some chick talking shit, man, talking crazy. He ain't all that. All right. And then all right. And this episode, we're gonna do something special. We changed he's changing the top. I ain't gonna talk about what was on there first. So if you're watching this in the past, you got the right title. Oh, you did change it? All right, he did change it. My fault. All right. So this is gonna be a persuasion masterclass. All right. And we're gonna most of what I'm saying is gonna be based off what I believe is the best book of all time. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I got this copy here. It looks like the Bible because it's like the Bible for me. This is my favorite book. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I shouldn't have said that because, the religious people, the Bibles. Every time I talk about books, some fucking religious nut says the Bible's the only book you ever need to read. Sure, man. Funny fact, I promise you, all the people who thinking of typing that have not read the whole book. I'm the only motherfucker I ever met who read the whole Bible. There's some wacky shit in there, man, but there's some good shit in there too. You know what I'm saying? Some real good shit in there, You know what it is. I fucks with Jesus and shit. All right, so we're gonna get into that. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of the Victory Talk podcast was sponsored by our newsletter, Big Money Methods. It's fucking gangster. You gotta join the newsletter. In fact, I think it was just today. Hold on, let me pull it up. There was an article posted by me. I think we put that out today. Hold on, let me show you, man. Oh, there's a nice. I don't know what he's talking about. It's a nice piece. You talking about my bitch, nigga? I don't know what he's talking. I don't know what he's referring to, but he's right. Whatever he's talking to, I'm sure whatever he's talking about. If it's mine, he's right. All right. But Big Money Methods. That's a newsletter For whatever reason, I'm having a hard time bringing it up. So that's a newsletter where, me and some of the homies came together to consolidate our ideas, and it's posted twice weekly. We're showing you just ways to get money, man, ways to get money and ways you can improve yourself to get money. So we'll talk about, biohacking as a way to get more energy so you can deploy against your money making goals. I promise you, if you read, I know it's there. It just wasn't showing up on my shit. I know. I'm sorry, I was talking to Nima. But what was the article that I posted today? It says it right there. Yeah, you just pull it back up. It's the very first. It should be my best productivity hacks. That was 2 days ago. My fault. That because this comes out twice weekly. So the newest one is my productivity hacks. So you can make more money, man. You know what I'm saying? There's just a bunch of dope articles and posts that we post bi-weekly. It's 100% free to help you get more money. All right, join that newsletter right now. If you join the newsletter, because I've talked about it before, just go ahead and type 1 in the chat so we know what's up. So we know what it is. All right, because we want to help you build your money muscle mindset. Also, you gotta fucking join the companion Discord to this podcast, right? If you a real victinator, you gotta join. Now that you listen to the Victory Talk, you got to join the Victory Unit. Oh, fuck. Yo, Bet, can you bring my phone out the bedroom? Otherwise, it's going to start going off when the alarms hit. You say, but you got to join. You got to join the Discord, the companion Discord Victory Unit. That's how you know you a real victinator. I got free courses in there, and we're going to be adding a bunch of free courses in 2024, right, to help you accomplish your goal, build your money muscle mindset. And I put a lot of the free courses. I put a lot of courses that I used to pay for. I used to charge money for. Now they're in the Discord for free. All right. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. And I'm in there all the time. I'm in there answering questions, posting shit. I go live in there multiple times, a month, just to answer questions. We're trying to build a real community of champions, who are ready to accomplish their goals, man. So make sure you join that. All right, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and last but not least, our final sponsor, Thot Repellent. Thot Repellent. This is the product made by ballers for ballers, right? Because once you join the Discord, you listen to this podcast, and you get in the newsletter, it's only a matter of time for you to start balling and shot calling on these hoes. And then what's going to happen? The fucking Thots are going to try to take you down, man. I just found out just today that Vin Diesel, he's being sued for sexual assault. I don't know if he did it or not, but I know they're not trying to put him in jail. They're trying to get his money. I know it just seems like the guys are committing all these crimes and nobody's trying to send him to jail. They're just trying to get money from him. I don't know. It seems awkward. Like somebody committed a crime to me, I'm going to want them to go to prison. I'm not going to be out suing them, but that's why you need Thot Repellent, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's why you need Thot Repellent. All your super chats go towards research and development for Thot Repellent. See, what's going to happen is you'll be able to spray this on your body, and it'll be like a force field. Like these fucking dirty thoughts won't be able to get close to you. You know what I'm saying? They won't be able to. They won't be able to penetrate like a force field. It's like a fucking. It was like a few feet radius. They'll come to you and then there'll be convulsions, all right, like little roaches. Or you can spray it like a perimeter around your crib. You know what I'm saying? And that way they won't, because when you're really balling, they're going to be scaling the walls and shit trying to get in. All right. So Thot Repellent, easy to apply spray, keep the holes away. But, it's still in research and development. So all your super chats go towards research and development for Thot Repellent. All your super chats go towards research and development for Thot Repellent. Let me get that. Gracias, mi amor. All right. And all right. And Celcius. Now, they did not sponsor this. I just own a lot of stock. And I need y'all to start drinking this shit to make sure my shit is profitable. They did not sponsor this at all. I'll take the money, white boys, if you got it. You know what I'm saying? Fucking nerds, give me the money. But instead I'm part owner in the company because I own like Probably bought too much. But I like the stock. I really do. And if you see, the shit is up over like 40% year to date. So I've come up, but I'm trying to come up more. Get yourself some Celcius. Start drinking it. Start bathing in the shit. I did the caffeine might seep in. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you fill up your bathtub with it. Take a fucking cold plunge of Celcius. Tingling and start tingling all over your body. Pause. You might like it. We don't know till you try. So you got to buy like 5 cases of Celcius, fill up your bathtub, and tell us what happens. Put it on subscribe and save. And if you motherfuckers are listening, you want to give me a sponsorship, I will take the money for sure. I ain't above that. I definitely drink the shit and I own a lot of your goddamn stock. See you at the fucking annual reports, motherfuckers. All right. All right. I will also be answering your super chats. This shit is live. Just so you know, this shit is live. We're gonna take time out to answer your super chat. This shit is live. You see, man. December fucking 21st, 6:36. Damn, we started this one late. 6:36 p.m. We live. All right. So I'll be answering your super chats, and all your super chats go towards research and development for Thot Repellent. Get that to the market. Let's get into it. The ultimate persuasion class based off the greatest book of all times, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Is it the book of the week? Is it Real Talk? Who knows? Those of y'all, if you've been watching, over the last decade or so, I've been reading about 2 books a week, right? I've been a voracious reader for the majority of my adult life. So we're talking about tons of different books, different subjects. Like all these books here, I read them, even more than that on my Kindle, and I have more books in storage, right? They wouldn't even fit into my new apartment. And out of all the books I've ever read, the one that has helped me the most, the one that's impacted my life the most, and the one that I think is the best book of all time is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Right? If you are trying to, I heard fucking, okay. If you are trying to accomplish anything in life, you need to work with other humans. Right. And you need to get them on your side. You need to you need to build you need to build alliances with these people. Right. And this is the best book on how to do that. Right. It's a very old book. It's a very old book. It stood the test of time. I think it should be required reading in high schools. Right. There should be classes on it. I'm telling you, it's the best book of all time. Those of y'all from putting in action the things that I've learned in this book has made me a lot of money. And we're going to get into this in this video. I'm going to be breaking this down every step so you can apply it to your life, your business, whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to rise the corporate ranks, if you're trying to rise the corporate ladder in your job, this book will help you. Right. If you're trying to get more dates, have better success with women, this book will help you tremendously. You know, if you're just trying to not be a fucking loser by yourself all the time and just have some friends, this book will help you. And especially if you do sales or marketing in any capacity, this book is required reading for you. All right. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the most important parts, the key parts. This video is not a substitute for reading the book, right? This is not a book that you read once. It's a book you study. You read over and over again until it's in you, not on you. Pause. All right. Let's jump into it. Let me get my trusty. Get my iPad out. We about to start teaching and preaching. Hold up. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to burp in the mic, man. My fault, man. This shit is free, though, man. You get what you pay for. All right. Hold up. Doing the best I can. It's just me, Nima, and a crazy Dominican girl in the back that I love. All right. Can you see the screen? It's working. All right. All right. So this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 4 major sections of the book. Hold up. I can make this better. I'm fucking up, man. Too much damn Celcius for this, man. But it's so delicious. All right. All right. So part 1 is going to be dealing with people. Excuse my handwriting. I know I look like a toddler on acid. I know my handwriting looks like a drunk toddler who did fucking drugs for the first time. You know, my girl just said that this looks too bad. Hold up. She always talking shit though. Oh. Dealing with people. All right. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change that. I don't want to. That's not. I actually wrote the wrong thing. Don't worry about me. All right. This is live, man. You get what you pay for. All right. Handling people. All right. Draw a little graph. So you know what I'm talking about. you gotta handle people. All right. Okay. In the first part of this, there's 3 steps when it comes to handling people. All right. It looks like this. So the first thing you got to do is avoid the 3 C's. And I'm going to explain what those are in a minute. All right. Then second part of this is should be looking smooth when it's a YouTube video. Y'all know. Shout out to my video team for making me look less retarded. Right. Second part of this is showing what? Appreciation. Make it it looks weird. Got to show appreciation. All right. And we're gonna break down each one of these in a minute. And then one of the most important things you got to do is when you're dealing with people, or you're trying to handle people in any kind of capacity, you always have to appeal to the thing they care about most. Everyone cares about most. What's in it for them? All right. So we're going to break down each one of these. All right. So the things you have to avoid, the 3 C's, you're going to write this down. Things you never want to do. when you're dealing with people or handling people in any kind of capacity, you want to make sure that you refrain from criticizing people or things, condemning people or things, or complaining about people or things, right? You never criticize, never condemn, and never complain, right? Let me give you an example. We've all been around that person who's always talking about how bad shit is or how awful things are or how the world's going to shit. The only other people who like to be around them are other complaining ass people, but they probably don't like it that much, right? Because when you are behaving like that, you have what? Negative energy, and it's repulsive. Negative energy is compulsive. And I know I'm at the risk of sounding like one of them chicks who collects crystals. You know, you go to her crib and she's got a whole fucking gravel pit on her bedside, fucking exotic looking shiny rocks and shit. And she wants to ask you her horoscope, and maybe she eats kale chips, but it's a real thing, right? Negative energy is repulsive, right? And if you are trying to win friends and influence people, and you're always complaining, you will not be as successful in that endeavor. By contrast, if you avoid those things, you have more positive energy. And everyone loves that. For example, when my son was real little, I would walk him around in this stroller, walking him around the neighborhood in New York, and he would just be so happy to be outside in the stroller, and he'd have like a Paw Patrol toy, and he was a child, and he would be smiling and like just giggling like to himself while I was walking him in the stroller. And then the people would see that, right, as we walk by, men, women, children, everybody, and they would look at him, and I would see them like light up, right? I would see them just get happy just to be just viewing this happy person, because it's contagious. These energies are contagious, and no one likes to be around a negative person. But some negative people don't even realize how negative they are, because it's been complaining and condemning and criticizing has become normalized, right? But what happens is, the beauty of that is, because it's ubiquitous now, just this negative energy, the more positive you are, the more you stand out. And guess what? People want to be around you more, right? If you're trying to win friends and influence people, but you're always talking shit, you're always being negative, you're going to have less success in that endeavor, right? Then the third part is appreciation, right? Now, we've all had that experience when we help somebody with something, or we do something nice for someone and they don't seem to appreciate it. What does that do? That breeds what? Resentment. That breeds resentment. Right? However, when somebody does something, even when it's small, when you do something for someone, even when it's small, it may seem insignificant to you, but they get real excited about it, like you made their fucking day, right? That makes people want to, if you behave like that, right? Okay. If they act real excited, you want to help them more, right? And the same thing for you. So if you show appreciation every time somebody does something, or just for them in general, right? They want to help you more. Let me give you an example. The way they train dolphins in a zoo or a aquarium or wherever the fuck dolphins be at, right? They train them just like other animals. No, they don't train them the same way they train all the other animals, because you can't whip a dolphin. You can't really punish a dolphin, right? The only way you can train a dolphin is with positive reinforcement. So every time the dolphin does something remotely close to what the dolphin trainer wants them to do, they reward them with a fish, right? So they catch the dolphin doing something good and show appreciation by rewarding them. And the dolphin over time learns, oh, when I do this, I get fish. And then they keep upping the things the dolphin needs to do. Next thing you know, the dolphin is jumping through fucking hoops and shit on command, right? And it was just positive reinforcement. They didn't tell the dolphin to do anything. They didn't force the dolphin to do anything because the dolphins don't speak English. All right, I know this may come to a surprise. I know this may come as a surprise to many of you, but dolphins cannot comprehend the English language. They are trained 100% with positive reinforcement, right? But all animals are, including Homo sapien humans, right? So if somebody does something for you and you show a lot of appreciation for it, what happens? Now you're training them to do it, right? Because people get because that appreciation is like a reward. It makes people feel good. Everybody likes to be appreciated, right? And when you show appreciation for something you do, then you're kind of training them to do it more. Now, what happens by contrast? I remember my mom was trying to get me to call her more. She wanted me to call her more often. The problem is I got sent away to military school when I was a kid. And this was before cell phones were invented. The only people who had cell phones were doctors and drug dealers, right? I was neither at that time. And then, so I didn't have a cell phone in military school. So I got used to not talking to my parents. And when I went to college and became an adult, I would call my mom very infrequently. And I still haven't really trained myself to do it more often. So I had to put it in my calendar to remind myself. But when she was trying to get me to call her more, when I did call her, she didn't say, hey, I'm so happy you called. What she would say was, oh, you don't never call me, man. You don't never. She would talk to me about almost like punish me for calling her, because she would complain. Remember, complain or condemn. She would complain and condemn me while I was on the phone, right? So I did what she wanted. She did not show appreciation. She condemned and she condemned and criticized me. What is she training me to do? Right. She's training me to do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So when you catch people doing, as a result, I call her almost never. I'm just playing. Yeah, it was like that until I put it in my calendar and then problem solved. But I had to force myself to do it. Right. She could have just trained me to do it. Right. Had she picked up the phone and said, oh my God, I'm so happy, and showed appreciation for the call, I'd have been eager to call her again. Right. Subconsciously, right. And so just think about that. Anytime you catch somebody doing something that you want, you got to make sure you show a lot of appreciation. Right. Because when you do that, you are actually training them to do it more. And if you don't do that, you build resentment. And God forbid you do the opposite. You start condemning them, punishing them for it. Well, you know what that's going to happen. All right. Now, the third is you always want to think about when you're dealing with someone, especially if you want to influence them or even just be friends with them. What you need to be thinking at all times is what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. Because when you think about what's in it, when you don't consider what's in it for them, you come across as selfish. Right? However, when you are thinking about what's in it for them on a consistent basis, right, they will have gratitude. Right? They will have gratitude towards you. Right? Excuse me. Right? So especially if you're in sales, we're going to get into this more in the video, but when you're in sales, the main thing you need to be thinking about is what they want, not what you want to sell them, right? And you need to be thinking about why you want to have that. Because, you need to be thinking about why they want to have it, right? And then you need to show them how your product or service can help them accomplish their goals. It's not about you. It's not about making the sales, it's about them and their goals at all times, right? This is something you want to keep in mind at all times when you're talking to all people. What's in it for them, especially if you're trying to get them to do something, right? Especially if you're trying to get them to do something. I'm trying to think of an example. And I can't think of one. All right, so these are the three keys to dealing with people. Never criticize, never condemn, never complain, right? Show appreciation, right? And always think about what's in it for them. This is going to be a running theme for the book. This is a running theme through the book, is to show interest in the other person. Think about what they want. Think about their interests, right? That's how you persuade people, and that's how you win friends, right? Most people think that to persuade people or to be interesting, you want to, most people think that to persuade people or to be interesting to another person, that you have to talk about how dope you are and all the dope shit you have. That is not the way. You want to do the exact opposite. You want to be talking about how much you like the other person, good things about them, and most importantly, things they want. That's going to be a running theme throughout this video. We're going to get into it more, right? It's the other person, not you, right? So that's part one, handling people, right? Part two, here's the second part, right? Make people, dyslexia. I really have dyslexia. You make fun of me, you a bad person, man. I was diagnosed. People love you. And we're going to show you how you can do that, right? So this is you, and you got here crushing it, right? I know you may be thinking, damn, Brandy, you're such a good artist. I know, bro. Just try to stay focused. Heart eyes, right? Please, King Keto. All right. This is how you make people love you. All right. Let's get into what you laugh. All right. So we're going to break this down into there's really 6 steps. But they're going to be broke down into 2 categories, right? And these are, hold up. Oh, okay. Behaviors and actions, right? And you may be thinking, what's the difference? Actions are things you do, but behaviors are attitudes you convey when you're doing something. Okay. Right. And if you do these things, I'm telling you, man, people will be in fucking love with you, man, infatuated with you. Right. Right. So number one, the first thing you need to do is be interested in them. Hope I spelled this right. Did I spell it right? Yeah. Oh. She said, oh, my girl saying this is not eligible. Let me see what happens. Let me start over, man. I want you guys to be able to read this shit. For someone who can't barely write or spell, I picked an interesting medium for teaching. All right. That's an R. Be interested in them, right? And one of the ways you can do that. What the fuck? Oh. And one of the ways you can do that, the action you can do that to convey the action, the action you can engage in to convey that would be, one of them would be to talk in terms of, oh, writing too fast, the other person's interest. Talk in terms of the other person's interest, right? Be interested in them. I'll give you an example. One of the masters of this shit is my boy Lewis Howes from the School of Greatness. We've done YouTube videos together. I've hung out with him in LA. That's the homie. When I met Lewis, I had some people from my team with me, right? And there was a girl with us too, right? And and Lewis, you know, one thing that a lot of people do when they're with a star or influencer, they kind of just talk to the influencer and they kind of ignore everyone else, right? And I make sure I don't do that, but I noticed Lewis did it too. And he asked the girl, who was with us, he said, after asking her name and asking stuff about her, he said, so it's hard for me to say this shit, but Lewis said, so what are you excited about in your life right now? And I was like, what the? It was weird, right? But the girl, like you saw, she like lit up. She was so excited to answer the question because he was interested in her. And especially like, you know, sometimes when people are around me, like my friends or colleagues are around me, and if they're not, you know, social media superstars as well, they can get left out of they can get left out of conversations and shit, you know, because my presence tends to suck all the energy and attention out of the room. However, she was super excited. I was like, oh man, yo, Lewis is gonna fuck this bitch. That wasn't his plan. He's just a nice guy. This is what he does, right? But she was super excited to answer the question that he was interested in it, right? That's just one example. But anytime you're talking to other people, man, talk about the things that they're interested in, not the shit that you're interested in, right? And you have to find that out. You know, you're gonna have to find that out by asking questions and talking to them. But when you do that, they will like you more. I promise you that. And then the next thing you want to do is make them feel important. Right? Make them feel important. Right? And hold on. Looking at my notes. And the action you can take to convey that is to become a great listener. Right? So when most people, no Siri, I'm not fucking talking to you. I'm almost never talking to you, Siri. Stop. Can you see that shit in the corner? Like Siri's really, no. This bitch is really think I'm trying to talk to. I promise you I'm not, Siri. Stop. Hold up. All right. Become a great listener, right? And this makes people feel important, right? You're really listening to them. What most people do is they they're kind of just waiting for their opportunity to talk in a conversation, or they're thinking about what they're going to say next while the other person is talking, barely listening. You want to really listen and really be a great listener. I'm telling you, man, Lewis is one of the best at this, Lewis House, because you can watch it. If you watch the interview I did with him, it was on my channel, right? I'm asking him questions, talking about his book, and then he shows some interest in me in their interview, and he asked me a question, right? And next thing you know, he's got me talking more than him. I was like, no, Lewis. It was like a battle to see who can get the other person talking more. But I think we were just both doing it unconsciously. But he's a master at this shit. Like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone flip an interview. But Lewis did that shit. And I like them more. I'm going to be honest with you. I like them more, man. It's like everybody wants to feel important. And almost nobody does this. Almost no one is a good listener. If you can become a great listener, people will love you. I'm just telling you, it's so powerful. For example, we're going to talk about this more. My sales team, we have a software. What's it called? I think it's called Gong, where we record all our sales calls, right? And Gong will show us if my salesperson is talking more or the prospect is talking more. And it'll give us a percentage, right, of who's talking more. And I tell my salespeople, I want them talking at least 80%, at least, when I look at your calls, right? When I look at the calls, it gives me the breakdown. I want to see 80% of the customer talking. And every salesperson with the highest percentage of the customer talking and the lowest percentage of them talking, they always outsell people who talk more, right? Because sales, persuasion, or even just getting people to like you is not about you talking, right? That's what hustlers do. That's what people who are trying, I mean, when I say hustler, I mean it in a negative sense. People who are trying, fucking scammers or fucking street hustlers. Hey, man, I got all this shit, all that shit. That's how they talk. But like really persuasive people, the best persuaders, get you to talk more. And the more you talk, the more they learn, the more, and on a subconscious level, you start to like them more. Everyone's favorite subject is themselves. And if you can get them to talk about themselves, you don't interrupt, you actually listen, ask follow-up questions, people will fall in love with you. I guarantee you, man. I mean, fortunately, I'm not going to give you no examples because my girl is like right there. But in my past, this is something that I employed. This is a strategy I employed, right? Just let them hoes talk, man. They'll start to like you more. Not anymore. I only listen to one girl now. Other girls talk. I hear that other women talk. People tell me that other women talk, but I don't even hear it. You know what I'm saying? And here's the next behavior. The next behavior is you want to show you enjoy their presence. Fuck, I always do this wrong. Is that right? Is it I before E? Is it E before? That's correct. Okay. You want to, what the fuck just happened? Fucking Siri, man. What's happening? All right. You still see my screen? Okay. Show that you enjoy their presence. And there's actually two ways you can accomplish this. Really simple, right? One is to smile. I know a lot of you guys want to be like extra alpha, fucking tough guys. And that might appeal to a certain demographic, but a more broader demographic is to smile. My homie Splash Man, he has some friends who live in my building. He told me that they say, man, every time I see Brandon, he's always smiling. Because I kind of train myself to do that, because it's something about a smile, right? It makes people feel as if they're welcome, and it makes them feel safe in your presence. And that's kind of how I learned this, right? I read this in a book, and I immediately started applying it to my life, because, you know, how deep do I want to get in this? Okay, listen. Criminals have a criminal swag. I can't explain it. Drug dealers or fucking shooters, thugs, they got the thug look. You know, they looking like thugs, right? They walk like thugs, they behave like thugs. And there was a time in my life when I was really young where, I don't want to implicate myself in anything, but I was surrounded. A lot of my colleagues were thugs and criminals, you know, early 20s, long time ago, way past, you know. All right, anyway. And to evade law enforcement, I just started to smile more. I swear to God. Like, it's funny. If you're looking for a criminal, if you draw a criminal right now, a fucking street criminal, he probably doesn't have a smile on his face. Right. So I just make sure I smile more, as well as dressing like Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince whenever I wanted to be more clandestine and move past and evade law enforcement. But I noticed that people just treated me better. People were happy to see me. Right. And I took that into all areas of my life. And then especially being a 6'2", 200-pound Black man, I know that I can, in general, just be intimidating if I want to, right? Covered in tattoos and shit. So sometimes people are on guard immediately when I walk into a place. But if I walk into the place with a big smile, hey, what's going on? Right, with a big smile, everybody's, oh, everything's cool. I like this guy. And people are more friendly in this. You can just start extrapolating that to all different areas of your life. So I just kind of trained myself to smile more, man. And it's a funny thing about smiling. Smiles are contagious. Laughs, the same way laughs are contagious, the same way sadness is contagious, right? We have something called mirror neurons, right? So when you start to smile more, it's kind of infectious, and other people start to smile more. Here's the thing. When you smile, it actually sends different neurochemicals to go off in your brain, right? That make you happy, right? And if smiles are contagious, you can literally make somebody happy by smiling at them, right? And now, if you're the person who's making everyone happy everywhere you go, do you think it'd be that hard to win friends and influence people, right? Smiles are contagious. And you've all seen it. You ever seen like a fucking toddler run into a room with a big smile on his face laughing? Everyone in that room lights up. You can do that too. You have that same power, right? I swear you have that same power. It makes you more attractive, and it makes you more, people are compelled to be around you more. Think about the opposite. Somebody who's all mean and sour. You don't never want to be around that person. That motherfucker is dreadful, right? So the more you can smile, especially when you're around the people you want to persuade, right? When you're in their presence, smile. When you're talking to them, smile. Not fucking goofy, right? But smile. Like, I tell my sales team, I made them all watch this movie. There's this one scene in this movie where it's called Out of Sight. I saw this when I was 17. It's not a great movie, but it's kind of entertaining. But it's George Clooney and J-Lo, and he's like a bank robber, but he's super charismatic. And I was like, yo, this motherfucker's a criminal, man, but everybody likes him. And we're rooting for him in the movie, right? We're rooting for the criminal in the movie, the fucking bad guy, right? Because he was just so charismatic. And what you know, he got like this like smile. Like, it's not like a cheesing, but he's got like a smile on the whole time. And there's one point he's talking to J-Lo right before he fucks her. And a lot of guys, man, talking to J-Lo, they'd be nervous and shit, you know? But he had to fucking smile. And I made him watch that scene where he's talking to her right before he fucks her. And I say, that's the fucking attitude you got to have on a sales call. That George Clooney smile. I'm telling you, man, when I watch your sales calls, I want to see the George Clooney smile. Confident, happy, you know what I'm saying? Because he made that sale. If you watch the movie, he made that. He closed that deal. Believe that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody just asked if this is live. The fuck is wrong with y'all, man? I've never lied to y'all in over a decade, man. Okay, goofballs. Here you go, man. It's fucking, it's December 22nd, 8:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's live to the motherfucker, man. All right? Fuck, man. Y'all been lied to so long, you don't even believe the real shit, man. You've been led astray, man. You misguided and undecided, man. You've been, we got to get you on the right path, brother. All right. And the next thing you can do is remember their name. Whoa, I spelled that wrong. I spell words wrong a lot, man. I was actually diagnosed with dyslexia, man. What? Got me fucked up. All right. Remember their name and use it. Don't overdo it, but if you can remember someone's name, man. So the book goes into great detail about how people's names, everyone's own name is the best sound in the world to them. And it makes them feel special. Right? If you can remember the name, it makes them special. And most people never remember other people's names. Right? So what you could do, you can like immediately write it down or take a note on it. Right? Or you can just say it a few times in your head or try to use it in the conversation. And this is real good. If you can use it in the conversation, you'll remember it better. You know, remember their names. People will like you more, especially if you call them by their names. Don't overdo it. Don't be fucking weird about it. But you know, this is super compelling. People love that if you can remember their names. Now, we've all had sex with people and forgot their name, didn't know their names, right? We've all been there, right? But if you can remember it, you have. I'm not saying you need to do this, but this definitely helps. It puts you in the right position, puts you in a better position to persuade. All right. Oh, is everybody getting this? I hope you guys are fucking getting this. I'm really dropping jewels, right? Make sure you read the book. All right. And then the fourth section that we're going to get into is how to persuade. I got to zoom in to make it more legible. Sorry. How to persuade. Of course, we need a little drawing for this. Maybe this guy's pointing. Or it's a gun. I don't know. Right? And everybody else should be. It's not a gun, it's him pointing. I mean, violence is persuasive as well. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what I'm getting at. All right. So this one we're going to get into a little more detail. All right. Are you guys feeling this? I hope you guys are getting this, man. And this may not be the most entertaining video so far, but it's a lot of knowledge in here. This is the best book of all time. You know what I'm saying? I really hope you guys are taking notes and getting the value out of this, man. All right. So there's really 3 steps. Well, there's 3 major keys the book lays out for persuasion. Right. And the first thing, if you're trying to convince somebody to do something or trying to persuade someone to your way of thinking, the first thing you want to do is get in agreement. Get in agreement on something. Get into agreement on something. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I'll give you an example. So back in the days when I had my supplement line, Bro Laboratories, this is a real name. Sounds fake, but it's real. And we made a lot of money. We were trying to come out with the next product. We were trying to decide. And me and my business partner at the time, white boy Brian, we had different ideas of where we should go. So he wanted to come out with a protein powder, right? And I wanted to come out with a coffee, right? And one thing I did was I really listened to him. I was like, all right, tell me more about this coffee. Why you think we should do that? And I listened and I listened. And then I told him why. I explained to him my position, right? But then I was just really like, what's the common goal? Like, what do we really want, right? So we really focused on finding the common goal. And we found out is we both wanted to make money, right? It wasn't about hold on. It wasn't really about having a coffee or having a protein. It was about making some fucking money. You know what I'm saying? All right. So after hearing him out, right, and I wanted the protein too. However, when I broke down the numbers, I was like, listen, the margins on the protein powder are just not as high as the protein. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me tell you. When I really listened to him, I heard him out, right? And the reason he wanted to come out with a protein because, you know, he had been listening to the customers and they wanted them. They kept asking for it. He was getting emails and he was seeing the people were asking for a protein from us, right? He thought it would sell a lot. I wanted to come out with a coffee, right? But when we crunched the numbers, the margins on the coffee were going to be higher than the margins on the protein, right? So if the common goal was to make more money, which is how I make the majority of my decisions, when we found out that we might be able to sell more protein, but the margins were so low that even if we sold less coffee, we'd make more profit, right? We put more money in our pockets, right? So we came out with a protein. We came out with a coffee, right? That's what we made it. But we found out what the common goal was. That's very important, right? So first thing you need to do is get an agreement on something. Find a common goal. But when you're doing that, you also have to make sure that you show respect for their opinions. So when he came to me with the protein idea, I really heard him out and I listened to it. And I really considered it, right? It's not fake. I really considered it like he might be right because he had different insight because he actually handled the customer service more than me, right? I was just making YouTube videos, doing the promotion and really handling the ads and stuff, running the placing the ads and all that other shit. You know, I handled the marketing, but he handled the customer service. So he had insight that I didn't have, right? But I didn't just shoot him down and say, no, white boy, we coming out with the motherfucking coffee. No. I really listened to him and I respected his opinion, right? But you know, we found a common ground, and then because I respected his opinion, and we found out what the overall common goal is, he was happy to move in that direction. It wasn't like I tricked him. It wasn't like I forced his hand. it's like we were on the same page and we both decided, okay, this is the right move. But I was totally willing, if I heard the right information, to do the protein instead. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of leads to the second part. You have to hear them out. All right. And when you're doing this, you have to honestly see their point of view. This is a big point that Dale Carnegie makes, right? Honestly. Now, here's what I mean by that. There was one employee I had, and I had this idea that I wanted to I'm gonna change some of this because they're gonna watch this shit. But I wanted to change the scheduling of a project we were doing. I thought it was a good idea, but I asked them, what do you think would happen if we did this? Right? I didn't just say, hey, we're gonna do it, right? Because I might be wrong, right? You know, just different people in my organization have insight that I might not have, right? And I never assume I'm 100% right. So I said, okay, what if we change the schedule, right? And then instead of like listening to my point of view, he went straight to, well, how do I put this? I'm sorry, man. I'm laughing because Neiman knows the story. And I wanted to change. Yeah, I wanted to change the schedule. And he said, well, I want to change the schedule of like some of the video stuff. And he was like, well, do you want to do it because you want to do it more? Or do you want to do it because you want to get the best views or something to that effect, right? And I was like, oh, okay. It sounds like this, like trying to find a common goal. But what he didn't do was he didn't hear me out. He didn't hear my point of view or show respect for my opinion. He kind of just went to basically when somebody does that, I can kind of tell that they're trying to convince me to do something, right? If they go if they go straight to, oh, wait a minute, so what's the goal? What's the goal here? Why do you want to do that, right? If they go straight to this, as if they're trying to find a common goal, but they're really, I can always tell that they're just trying to convince me not to, right? And because I know that, I get mad, but I don't think everybody would get mad, right? But had he honestly listened to my point of view, show respect for my opinion, it wouldn't have triggered rage on my part. So it was less effective. It's a less effective strategy, you know? So seriously, you want to listen to their point of view, right? Because they might have some insight you don't have. Now, come to find out that the employee actually was right. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the employee was right, but still pissed me off. Neiman knows the story. That's why we laughing. All right. Now, another thing when you're trying to hear them out, right? People want to be heard, right? They want to know that they're valid, and that kind of goes into how that ties into, you know, if you make them feel heard, right? That goes into like making people like love you, making people like you more, right? So when you make them feel heard, you want to let them talk more. You want to let fuck, it's the wrong color. You want to let them talk more. This is honestly a huge theme in the book. He goes into great detail on that, right? And again, like I told you, just with my sales team, we can actually see with the software the percentage of the salesperson talking or the prospect talking. And every time the prospect talks more than the sales team, the conversions go up. And the sales team who has the lowest, the sales team member who has the lowest percentage of himself talking is almost always the one with the highest conversion rate and the one who makes the most sales and the most money, right? Because people want to be heard. And if you let them talk more, guess what? They'll tell you, remember we go back here, they'll tell you what they want and you'll find out what's in it for them. And it makes it easier for you to align your product or service with what they want, with their goals, right? You have to let them talk more. You have to hear them out. I'm telling you, letting other people talk is the secret to making them like you and the secret to persuasion. All right. It's a secret to persuasion. And then you have to show the path. Right. So now, assuming you heard them out and you still feel like your path is right, the right way, you might find out that your path is wrong, right? Or that they might have some ideas that are better than yours. This is very important, right? Before you go to show the path, make sure you hear them out first, because you might be wrong, they might be right. And if you hear them out, you might not even have to show them the path. That might be the path. They may be right. But if you just tell them what you're going to do instead of hearing them out, now your ego is attached to the outcome. And you might just start disagreeing and fighting them just because now you have an emotional investment in the way you want to go. But if you're asking questions, you get in agreement and you're really honestly hearing them out and trying to hear their point of view, then you can say, yeah, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And it's like, you don't take an ego hit, right? You don't feel shitty about doing what they want because you didn't get your ego involved. I hope that makes sense. I hope I conveyed that right. Did I convey that right? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. See what I just did? All right. Now, but if you feel like you are on the right path, then you want to appeal to more noble motives. You want to appeal to nobler motives. Is nobler a word? I think so. It's going to be today. Right? Appeal to nobler motives. Let me give you an example. Everyone should be familiar with this. There's a guy, I don't know if you heard of him or not. His name is Donald Trump. And he was running for president, right? He was running against Hillary Clinton. And his slogan was what? Make America great again. Make America great again. That appeals to like a nobler motive. It's like, oh yeah, we can be great. Now, by contrast, what was Hillary's slogan? Initially, she changed it because it was so fucking awful. But her very first slogan, when she first announced she was running, it was, I'm with her. I was like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing, bitch? I'm with her. You gonna lose. She immediately changed that shit because it was so awful, right? And listen, make America great again. It's so generic. It can mean different things to different people. If you're black, it means nothing, right? Because there was no time America was better for black people than when but we're only 10% of the population, so who gives a fuck, right? You're trying to get we're only 10% of American population, so it was effective for his strategy and his demographic, and it worked. It worked, right? You got to appeal to sometimes you got to appeal to something bigger, some more noble, right? And Trump did that Trump was masterful in that, right? To be clear, I think I'm not political at all. I'm apolitical. Like I don't give a fuck. Whoever wins, I'm going to find a way to be victorious, no matter what circumstances I find myself in. So I'm not political at all. Don't take this as a political stance in any direction, right? But this motherfucker is only the second person to become president who never held a public office. The first person to do it was Dwight Eisenhower. He had to kill Hitler to do it. He had to save the fucking world to become president. Trump just had to fucking talk crazy, man. But the cornerstone of his crazy talk was make America great again, and that appealed to a nobler motives, and it can mean anything to anyone, right? And people galvanized and got behind that shit. All right. Now another way you can do it is to throw down a challenge. Sometimes I'm writing these words and I just be sweating like a whore in church, man. Like, God, please don't make me. I almost spelled that shit with 2 Q's and a Z. Throw down a challenge. Now, this is a different kind of persuasion tactic, right? So I did that with a book I came out with. No, it was a book. It was It's not. But anyway, there was a program we came out with called the Terminator 2-week Judgment Challenge. And the whole marketing was, listen, you're not tough enough to do this. Don't even try. We're like most fitness. My girl's saying somewhere. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Where most fitness shit, it's like, oh man, this would be easy. You can do it in the comfort of your own home, and easy, fun workout. Our shit was like, nah, this is gonna be the hardest workout you ever fucking tried. In fact, you shouldn't try it because you a bitch. Ain't no way you can do this, pussy, man. You need to do some other shit. That was like one of my highest selling products ever, right? Because people like to have a challenge and they like to rise to the occasion. You get what I'm saying? It's you see this sometimes in the grocery store, like burning hot sauce, like it's the hottest shit. Motherfuckers, let me try that. People like a challenge, and the way you can do this is, you can just, let's say you're trying to persuade someone to do something. You can be like, listen, man. I'm not trying to think of a good example. I can't think of one. But sometimes people like to be challenged, and you say, man, for example, sometimes when I'm actually selling on sales calls, right? I'll say stuff like, man, are you sure you want to do this, man? This is going to be very difficult, man. How about you just keep doing what you're doing, man? Like this thing is not really cut out for everyone. Like I'll say it all the time. And it's true to it. There's truth in there, right? There's truth in there. But some people are like, what you mean? What, you think I can't do it? You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not saying you can't do it. What are you saying you can? And they were like, yeah, I can. Are you sure? Well, let's go. Right. We do that all the time in sales. But you got to really mean it, though. It can't just be a tactic, and it's way different than the way most people sell. They try to tell you everything's going to be easy, everything's going to be fun. But if you see any of my marketing, especially for High Ticket Trainer, my program where I teach people how to build their online fitness business, I say all the time, listen, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard work. It's not for everybody. If you're lazy, if you're looking for a get rich quick scheme, do not come here. And I really mean that. Like, I really mean it. It comes from the bottom of my soul, because it is going to be difficult, right? It is going to be hard. And it's only for the toughest among you, right? If you soft, if you lazy, don't come into our community, because you won't be welcome here. You know what I'm saying? And we mean that. But what happens is the people who are fucking really about that fucking life, who want to challenge, who want to accomplish something great, they're eager to move in that direction. And there's a part of people's brains where we kind of know that, you know, anything worth accomplishing, anything we're having is going to take some hard work and dedication. Like, we all kind of know that, right? So our bullshit radars go off when you tell them it's going to be easier, it's going to be effortless, right? You know, our bullshit radars go off, right? But if you offer a challenge, especially young men, they like to rise to that challenge, you know. And then I'm not going to lie, there is some reverse psychology in there. Like, if you tell a kid not to touch something, now he wants to touch it. He might not have been thinking about that shit even before, right? You know, there is some reverse psychology in there. But the thing is, when you do it, I'm assuming you're a person of integrity. You should mean it. You should mean it. Should really be difficult, you know? So when that Terminator 2-week challenge, that shit was difficult. And it's the hardest diet I've ever seen. Right. I'm not trying to sell you on it, right? Because you can't buy it anymore. But it was super difficult, man. It was super hard. But the people who did it, they were almost excited that they got through it. Kind of like that dumb shit people be doing, like the Spartan race. And you see like white boys like running through the mud and shit. You know, it's kind of like that. You know, or motherfuckers climb a mountain for no reason. It's that, right? It's the challenge. People enjoy that, right? Or, you know, or you hear girls say, man, they want a guy who's a challenge. Or well, never mind, take that out, because forget I said that, because it's so fucking crazy. Right? All right. Move to the next one. All right. Now we're going to wrap it up with how to be a leader. Oh. Did the same mistake twice in a row. All right. A little drawing. I know what you're thinking, Brandy. You're such a fucking great artist. Just try to stay focused. Try to stay focused on the content. Don't get distracted by the amazing artwork. It's you leading people. There's people following you, man. Down the righteous path, down the path of better ways and brighter days. All right. How to be a leader. Hope you guys are taking notes. You're not dependent on my notes, because my shit is barely legible. All right. See if I can do better circles than that. I thought I could do better. Clean that up a little bit. All right. How to be a leader, right? So you're going to put this L in the beginning. That L stands for leader. That's why it's a green L. Oh, you know what? I must make the space green. That's what I'm going to do. I'll make the L black. Right. You're a leader, right? And a few things you have to do for leadership, right, is you have to have training. You have to train the people. And I'm going to go a little deeper into each one of these. Pause. All right. Training. You got to give direction. And there has to be ownership. Right. Training, direction, and ownership. Let's get into it. Right. So the very first part of training is positive reinforcement. I talked about this earlier, but I can't actually stress it enough. Positive reinforcement. So I remember when I got sent away to military school, the guys who ran the military school, they were all high level. They were people who had, accomplished a lot in the U.S. military. Some of these guys were Army Rangers, special forces motherfuckers, right? And one thing they used to always say when they were teaching us to be leaders, because we had ranks in the school, like we had different ranks, and then we had people, we had other students or the cadets underneath us. And one of the things they would always say was, in leadership, I mean, I heard this all the time. They would say, you got to catch them doing things right. Right. It's not just about negative reinforcement. It's not just about being an asshole. It's about catching them do things right. When they're doing things right, you want to positively reinforcement. You want to reinforce it positively. Right. And it's kind of similar to the example I gave you about the dolphins. Right. That's how you train they train dolphins 100% with positive reinforcement, because you can't whip a dolphin. Right. But what happens is people get rewarded for something and they want to do it more. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that negative reinforcement is ineffective. But what I am saying is that the more you do positive reinforcement, the less negative reinforcement that's required. Right. Because people will begin to just do these things naturally, sometimes subconsciously. You get what I'm saying? It's very important if you're in a leadership position. And if you're in one now, or if you ever become in a leadership position, you want to always catch your people doing things right. You want to reward them when they do stuff right. It could be just verbally, or you can even be gifts. Like, I remember at the end of 2021, I bought my whole sales team Rolexes, right? Because we had hit some crazy sales numbers. We broke some records, and I bought them all Rolexes, right? And, most of those guys are still on the team, man, and they're fucking breaking more records, and you really got to show your team that you appreciate them, right? Which kind of goes back to some of the stuff we said earlier, right? And then also encouragement. Encouragement, right? You got to tell you, instead of just saying, hey, do this shit. Sometimes you got to tell them, they may have some doubts. They may not even know if they can do it, or they may have some trepidation about the mission in general, right? So I remember this is something we were trying to accomplish on my team, and none of us really knew if we could do it, but we knew we wanted to try. We knew we wanted to give it a real shot, because it wasn't like a thing that we had ever seen anyone do before, right? So we weren't even sure it could be done, but we were going to find out either way. And I just made sure I told the team, it's like, listen, no matter what happens, if this fails, this is on me. I'm not going to blame any of you guys for this shit, but I believe that there is a possibility we can accomplish this. If we can't, it's on me, right? But I know with this team we can do it. And I really encouraged them, and I gave them a reputation to live up to. And we did not accomplish that thing, but nobody felt bad. I mean, except for me, right? I didn't make them feel bad, and I didn't punish them for it, right? Because I'm a leader. I encouraged them the entire time, right? I let them know that, it was okay. I let them feel safe. And you also want to do this if they make a mistake. If someone on your team makes a mistake and it was an honest mistake, you want to encourage them. Listen, I know you can do better than this, man. I know it's just it's a hiccup, and you want to just always be encouraging. I'm telling you, even if you have to punish them, right? Even if you have to punish them, listen, instead of whipping their ass or yelling at them, like, listen, man, this keeps up, man, we're gonna have to let you go, man. But I know that you're capable of better work than this. I know you're capable of doing more than this, right? Even with your kids, right? You got to punish them. You got to ground them. Be like, listen, man, listen, I got to ground you for this, right? You're not going to be able to lead a house with this, but I know you're capable of rising to this occasion and doing better going forward. This is how you become the kind of leader that people are excited to follow, right? And if you are that kind of leader, man, I'm telling you, man, people will fucking go above and beyond for you, as opposed to somebody that just who's a tyrant, because that kind of person would just do enough. I mean, because if you're that kind of leader, the followers will do enough just to not get in trouble, right? Just enough. But you want them to go above and beyond, encouragement and positive reinforcement, right? And when it comes to giving directions, right, you got to tell them what to do, or get them to do certain things, move them in the right direction. One of the methods I like to use is I like to ask questions, right? Ask questions, and then also ask for their opinions. Do that better. Fuck. All right. So here's the thing. This is persuasive, right? Asking questions, asking for their opinions. Remember, we talked about this. This is persuasive, right? Now, if I'm just telling them what to do, they don't have the same amount of buy-in, right? But if I'm asking them, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Right? Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Right? If I get them on the same page, but it's like I get more buy-in when I ask questions or when I ask their opinions, as opposed to just barking orders. Right. And just think about it in your own life, right? Think about it, your employee, your boss, your parents, or anybody who's in a position of superiority in you in whatever organization. Think about it when it happens, if they ask your opinion or when they ask you a question. Are you going to be more likely to follow through with whatever plan is set, or you be more likely to follow through with if they just say, hey, do this, I need you to do this, do this, do that, right? You might do it either way, but which one would you feel better about? Which leader are you going to go above and beyond for? Which leader are you going to, stay with longer, given the choice, right? That's something I employ all the time. In fact, I gave examples of this, right? When that employee, when I was asking the employee about changing the schedule, when I wanted to when I wanted to come out with the coffee, I didn't notice that, but I gave examples throughout this whole presentation about that, right? It's a very effective leadership strategy. And then ownership, right? You want them to take ownership of the project. And one of the ways to do that, right, is to have them come up with ideas. Have them, hold on, I gotta zoom in. This is something I really like to do. Right. So maybe there's a project we're trying to do or something we're trying to accomplish. I ask them for ideas of how we can accomplish this. What do you think is the best way to do it? Right. I do it all the time. And here's the thing. Now it's their idea, as opposed to me just giving them a plan and tell them, hey, do this. Right. Now they're going to take ownership, and they can take more pride in it, because if it succeeds, hey, whose idea was that? That was their idea. Right? They can say that, and I'll be like, yeah, man, that was, man, Nima came up with this great idea to do the thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like and now he can take pride. He can take credit, even if it's just internally, for what happened. And I'm gonna give him credit for it. That was Nima's idea, man. He killed that shit. He's the man. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying it was me, it's my idea. How do you feel? Think about the contrary. How do you feel when you come up with an idea and somebody takes credit for it? Right? It breeds resentment, right? It breeds resentment, right? So have them come up with ideas and give them the credit if it works. However, you take all the blame. Right? If something doesn't work out, hey, that was your fault. You could have did better. You know what I'm saying, man? So a lot of times even if, let's say Nima comes up with an idea and it doesn't work, I'd be like, all right, man, listen, what could I have done to do better? Or I say, that was my fault. If I believe it, right? But he was not out here just fucking up and shit, right? Like he's dope, right? So I try to take all the blame. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me, right? So you give them ownership of the credit. You take ownership of the blame instead of trying to cast aspersions on them for it when a mistake is made. You want to help them save face if they made a mistake. Now, I'm not saying don't talk about ways they can do better. Don't tell them, but you want to credit. I mean, you want to give them the credit for the accomplishments, and you want to take as much blame for the failures as possible. For example, if you watch any of the best quarterbacks of all time on the team, after they lose a game, what do they say? And they say, yo, I got to do better. It starts with me. That's what the best people say. And the coaches that come on say the same thing. I got to start better. I got to I got to be better. I got to, the leaders should take the blame. You see that sports is the best example, especially in American football, not that other football that y'all be watching. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it works over there because I don't be speaking the languages the motherfuckers be saying. Right? But in American football, the best coaches do that, right? And the best quarterbacks do that because they're the leaders of the team. You know what I'm saying? And when there's a victory, the players. When there's a victory, the quarterback doesn't come out and say, "Man, I was throwing this shit out of that ball. You see that shit? Yo, man, I almost got sacked. These motherfuckers couldn't cover." No, he said, "Man, our guys came out there. We fought hard, man." You're right. They give credit to the other people, but they take the blame. They absorb the blame. And you want to be doing it. You want to be doing the same. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very important. Like even when I'm trying to think of an example there's a public example when I did this, right? Like when I got the award for the $1 million. The 1 million YouTube subscribers. I immediately thanked all the people who've worked on the channel, like the video guys who work for me now, the ones who worked for me in the past. I also thanked, my mentors, and I just thanked them. And of course, the subscribers and the fans, you motherfuckers and shit, right? But I tried to give as much credit to my team as possible, as opposed to just talking about how dope I am. I could have went on and said, "Yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. I'm that nigga. You know what it is, man. Fucking big Brandon Carter. Can't nobody do this shit like me. You bitch ass niggas." Even if I was thinking that out loud, I still want to give the credit to my team. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth is, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. You know what I'm saying? And because nobody does it by themselves. The team is super important. Like every successful leader had a great team, and you gotta make sure you're giving them as much credit and praise as possible, right? And these are just a few of the lessons I got from this fantastic book. Every time I read it, I feel like I learned something new, right? But that's why it's important to read books over and over again, right? Or watch this video over and over again, because you're gonna learn something new, right? You're gonna see things from a different perspective. But the book didn't change. The material didn't change. You changed, right? So you've had more life experience. So now you can connect dots in a different way that maybe you couldn't have prior, right? So every time I read it, I feel like I learned something new because I had more experiences and different. I've been through more adventures and shit. Now I can connect different dots. So read this book, study it. It's the fucking greatest book ever written. You know what I'm saying? By man. Okay. I know all you religious nuts want to say, "Oh, it's my religious book." All right, cool, man. But God wrote your book, man. I'm talking about just by a guy. This is the best one. All right. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Hey. And if you want to know some other books that I think are fantastic, I have a whole video about my top 50 books of all times. I put them in the tier list. You should check that out. All right, cool. That was the masterclass. Was there any super chats or no?
We don't have any super chats, but there is one good question.
What up?
From New.
Big New.
What's the best way you found of retaining information from books? Example, notes, skim reading, multiple books on a subject, etc.
Okay, so definitely read multiple books on the subject. And one thing you'll notice is it starts to overlap, right? Then you can reread books over and over again. So one thing I like to do is, especially if I'm reading a physical book or even on a Kindle, what I do is I highlight the parts I like, right? The parts that resonate with me. And then sometimes I'll just reread the highlights again when I reread the book, All right, that really helps. And if it's a book I really like, I take notes on it. I take notes on my highlight. So I use OneNote. And if I ever, maybe one day I'll do that for you. I'll open a OneNote and I have like summaries of fucking bunch of like my favorite books, the key points in it. And sometimes I just go over those I'll go over those highlights. But if it's one of the fucking God tier books, one of my favorite books, then I'll do the highlights. I'll make a summary, but then I'll make flashcards. I've only done that on a few books, but flashcards to really memorize it. That's some next level nerd shit. But that's what I did with 48 Laws of Power. What other book did I do that with? I didn't do that with this book because I don't think I had thought about that method. And plus, I just read it so many times, it's kind of in me. There's a few other books I made like legit flashcards on. Definitely 48 Laws of Power. Influence by Robert Cialdini. That was a book I made flashcards to really memorize. But that's a rare thing. I think just highlighting and going over the highlights is probably sufficient. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've done that with 48 Laws of Power and Influence by Robert Cialdini. That's the only ones I can think of. I'm sure there's another one. I might have did it with Deep Work by Cal Newport. I'm not certain of that. All right. If there are no more super chats, listen, guys, this has been another episode of Victory Talk. This was there's one more. All right.
We have Fredgen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Jamal Wick, big fan. Did you know they put you and your girl in the GTA 6 trailer at 21 seconds?
Somebody said that. Hold on, man. Hold on. I gotta find this shit because this is not the first time I heard this. Yo, do you know we in fucking GTA? Let's see. All right, we're gonna pull this up. At what seconds? 20. I've heard this shit more than once. GTA 6 trailer. Is this the one?
That's the one that is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
All right, so let's watch this. Let's watch this together, guys. At what seconds?
Yeah.
All right, let's make this bigger. That ain't my girl. I don't know her. Hold on, he said 21.
Do you know why you're here? Bad luck, I guess.
Oh, they say that's hold up. I don't wear hats though. I don't never wear hats. Is he wearing a hat? Yeah, that do kind of look like you though. Right? Am I tripping?
I don't think so.
Let me see.
Keep playing.
Was he bald? If he was bald, then it's me for sure. Oh, 20 what?
21.
Where am I at? How come I can't see? Oh, yo, there we go. Is that us?
We've never been to the beach in Miami.
Is he bald or is he wearing a hat? If he's wearing a
He
hat,
has a hat.
it's not me. That's not me. That kind of look like you, man.
We have one more super chat.
All right, what's up?
We have Leo.
Fuck you doing with this nigga in the GTA trailer? Who the fuck is that?
Here.
Who the
You
fuck
have
is
my
that nigga?
location?
Huh?
You have my location. Leo says he's been working at 7-Eleven for 7 years.
All right.
And this year moved up to management, 60 plus hours a week after watching you and making better money now more than ever at the bottom.
Oh, yo, listen, man. You know what it is, man. You know how I appreciate hard work, man. Any hardworking brother, man. Like, it's like I don't care what you're doing. Like, if I be seeing like my guys, my fans doing like labor or like other jobs, and I'm like, yo, man, let's get that money, man. Let's get that. Yo, shout out to you, Leo, man. Let's keep it up, man. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure I put that video on how to make $1 million as an employee, man. Check that shit out and start applying that. You know, because I meet guys pause. But like I meet guys in there, my fans, and they'll be like working security or something, and I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. But I love when guys tell me, man, I got a second job because you. I started working more because you, because that's what you got to do when you're starting at the bottom. That's what I did, right? Yes, you might not get rich immediately, right? But you got to like build up your war chest, and then you need some money. Like motherfuckers be saying, oh man, how do I start a business with no money? You don't, motherfucker. You don't. That's not fucking real shit. You get a fucking job, man, stack some bread, and then you know what I'm saying, you can start deploying that shit against your goals. And I love to see when you guys are working. For real shit, man. I love when you guys are working, especially when a motherfucker tells me he got a second job because of me, second or third job. I'm super proud of all of y'all. I'm super proud of all of y'all because y'all know my story. Y'all know that's what I did to pull myself out of the fucking rubble after my father shot himself in the head during the recession. Right? Let's get it. All right, this has been another episode of that Victory Talk podcast. This is a long one. Pause. You know, I just wanted to go deep into my favorite book. Pause. So I wanted to make sure y'all had it. We will not do the podcast on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna do the podcast on Tuesday. I know. And it's all my fault, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's because of me. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take the responsibility for that, you know. You know what I'm saying? That's on me. But we're gonna be back on December 28th. However, we will have a YouTube video up there. You know what I'm saying? We just won't be doing it live. You know what it is, man. I love y'all. Join hit all the links, man. Join the fucking Discord and sign up for that newsletter, man. I'm telling you some new shit on it. And catch me on IG. I'm out here doing dope shit, man. Getting money. You know what I'm saying? Getting money. Riding around Miami with my big titty girlfriend doing dope shit, man. I'll holla at y'all. Peace.